I first want to thank the local, state, and federal law enforcement who worked tirelessly to capture my husband's assassin so that he can be brought to justice.
Who the hell mics themselves up when they go up to the casket for their husband? His widow was mic'd up.
Hi guys, so I keep getting asked what I think of Erika Kirk, her speeches, her recent behavior on the podcast, and if I think that any of it is real. So I'm here to assure you with 100% certainty that I'm not buying it. Now, before you come at me in the comments, keep in mind that this is just my opinion. You might have a different opinion, and that's fine. I'm not here to change your mind. But if you watched her thinking something's off, I agree. And today, I'll show you the tells in her first speech that led me to the conclusion that she's full of it. Let's get into it. I'm a trained actor, and I've worked in film and onstage for years, and I can tell you that any trained actor can see right through Erika Kirk. Good actors have different methods of getting into character. This allows them to express the genuine emotions that the scene elicits. But bad actors always have the same MO: exaggeration and melodrama. One of the biggest tells of a bad actor is gesturing, also known as the Vanna White effect. If you don't know who she is, Google her. For example, they deliver the line, "I have a headache," while rubbing their temples or grabbing their head to show you how much pain they're in. But does anyone actually do this when they really have a headache? The challenge for the actor is to live as if something were true while knowing that it's not. A good actor can temporarily suspend their disbelief to create an illusion for the audience. But when the actor can't even get themselves to believe the lie, they gesture to try to convince us to believe it. And Erika's entire speech is just one big gesture after another. I can already hear you saying, well, Erika isn't an actor, but I disagree. She's just a really bad one. The first red flag for me wasn't anything in the speech, but in the timing of her address. She had just seen her husband get shot and killed right in front of her 2 days prior, but was somehow still able to deliver a 17-minute coherent speech in full hair and makeup. Whether it's your spouse or not, witnessing a traumatic event like that has marked effects on a person's ability to function, at least temporarily. Sudden, severe trauma causes not just emotional distress, but cognitive dysfunction, because the amygdala, responsible for fight or flight and for our emotions, is in overdrive, which causes a shutdown of the prefrontal cortex, where we process information. That's why people who experience sudden, severe trauma are often rendered speechless. But not Chatty Cathy. She had plenty to say and did so without a hitch. The second red flag was the sound quality of the video, or I should say the lack of it. Turning Point USA has access to state-of-the-art equipment, so why wasn't she mic'd? Even if they'd only used the internal mic from the camera, we still wouldn't hear this excessive amount of crackling static. In my professional opinion, this sound effect was added later with editing tools to make the recording sound off the cuff and unplanned, which then leads me to wonder what the metadata would say about the date and time of this recording. I'm not making accusations, I'm just wondering. As we go through this speech, I want you to notice something really strange. Not the fact that she's not actually crying, because you can see that for yourself. But I counted 7 times that she pats her dry eyes with a tissue, and every single time, she only pats her left eye. That's weird because real tears come from both eyes. Also notice that her gestures don't flow naturally, but are motions that start and end with specific verbal cues.
I watched my friend get shot in the neck. Yeah, that's what happened. I just want to say that he was publicly executed again before the world. The question is why, right?
The noise, the headlines, the endless feeds twisting into theories. Because in modern America, the truth doesn't just break, it fractures.
Authority says something and not prod any further. We can't allow that to happen here. I won't allow that to happen here because this something terrible has traumatized the world, okay? And I feel as though when it comes to this, the media, the government, the talking heads, everyone is confusing us about what actually took place with
Something terrible had shaken the world, and the air itself felt charged with confusion. In the aftermath, the cameras turned toward one face, Erika Kirk. First at the hospital, then at the memorial, she appeared composed, almost unbreakable. Her eyes glistened but never collapsed. Her words were precise, rehearsed, the kind of speech written to hold a crumbling empire together. She thanked first responders, promised to continue her husband's mission, and stood tall beneath the weight of 1,000 lenses. But the internet didn't see strength, it saw performance. The polished tone, the perfect posture, the unshaken voice. For a fleeting moment, people believed the calm. Then the illusion shattered. Because Candace Owens stormed in like lightning before the flowers could even fade. Her face flooded every screen. YouTube, TikTok, podcasts, the endless scroll of X. Her show rocketed up the charts, breathing down the neck of her fallen ally's legacy. Candace doesn't do quiet mourning, she does confrontation. Within hours, her voice filled millions of earbuds. Not soft, but sharp, deliberate, like a prosecutor in her own digital courtroom.
You're telling me that this kid who's not military trained, this guy, first of all, how did he get to the roof? How come nobody was looking? How come nobody was like, there's a direct line of sight between where he's sitting and those roofs? You guys didn't check? You don't have a drone? Like, that's insane. So he's on the roof, he shoots, he jumps from the roof, he jumps down.
The narrative had split wide open, and the storm was only beginning. You don't have a drone? You didn't check the rooftops? That's insane. Her voice thundered through the mic, cutting through the digital noise like a blade. Candace wasn't mourning anymore. She was on trial mode. Every sentence hit like cross-examination. So he's on the roof, he fires, he vanishes, and no one saw a thing? Really? Then came the line that froze the internet. She didn't name names. She didn't have to. Her words, betrayed by the pillow next to him, landed like a whisper that felt louder than any accusation. One sentence, and suddenly millions of viewers filled in the blanks themselves. In a heartbeat, America split into 2 screens. On one side, Erika, calm, poised, her silence mistaken for strategy. On the other, Candace, volcanic, furious, vowing to expose every hidden truth. What began as commentary had turned into open war.
Ever since Charlie Kirk died, naturally his widow, Erika Kirk, has become the center of attention. All this attention on Erika has led her to become the subject of discussion amongst many. She is a grieving widow, but according to many, she doesn't seem like it. As all over social media, people have been reacting to her strange public behavior after the death of her husband, who was the father of her children. This has led people to believe that maybe there's more to Erika that the public doesn't know about. After looking deeper into Erika, I started noticing several strange coincidences that had me questioning her entirely. Where did she come from? And how did she marry Charlie? And what is her connection to Trump? What I found seems to prove that Erika isn't who she seems to be.
So, I don't know about you, but that was possibly the most distasteful memorial service I've ever seen. Like, ever in my life thus far, okay? There is nothing, and I mean nothing, that says grief like walking on stage as if you were a WWE star, bruh. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? How you doing? I love the kids. Hey, what's up? Hey, yeah, oh, I'm Charlie's wife, yeah. What are you doing, fam? Like, y'all acting like Charlie about to come out stage himself. Like, y'all just going like everything's back to usual. Everything's okay. Just, keep going with the regular script. Bro, there was, I don't think there was one tear shed, bruh. They were trying to do, the what's his name? What's his name? Who did all the pew-pewing? Kyle Rittenhouse, bro. They could even, at least Kyle Rittenhouse gave out one little baby tear. I don't think I saw her cry at all throughout this thing. If we're gonna be honest, she had like a little Kleenex thing and just like, I'm like, what are you wiping, boo? Like, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. I've never come across someone who wants to say, oh, I loved him and all this, and there was no tears, bruh. No tears whatsoever. Now, hear me out. You can grieve however you want. Some people just don't grieve by, crying. Some people grieve by raising money. That's what you have to understand. Because another thing they did that I thought was just classless, to be honest with you, it was kind of like trailer park type of behavior on display. But underneath the banner, as they're doing the WWE intro, was like, hey, any gift amount, you'll get a wristband that says, I am Charlie Kirk. Bruh. Like, fam, y'all can't take not even a day off of like trying to get money off of this person's grave. Y'all can't take a day like at the memorial service. Bruh, y'all really fundraising at the memorial service, talking about, hey, go to TPUSA/Charlie, I am Charlie Kirk, okay? Join TPUSA right now. I'm like, yo, these people, you genuinely want to tell me that these people care. That's what you want to tell me, that they care about Charlie Kirk? Not one person, not one, and yes, that includes his wife, okay, gave 2 ifs, okay, about Charlie Kirk. Damn. Based off of what I'm seeing. Now, like I said, they can be grieving in their own manner, okay? For some people, they want to have, be isolated and cry and grieve, and just, think about the good times. Other people choose to fundraise and have big, extravagant, stadium events where you have, spectacle after spectacle. And people come out and say a whole bunch of stuff about, we got to fight for, the country and the left this and the left that.
We'll defeat the dark. We will prevail over the forces of wickedness and evil. You have nothing. You are nothing.
What? Hey, to each their own, okay? But if you want anyone to believe that what we saw was not a spectacle, that was just merely there for fundraising, and that these people genuinely cared about Charlie, I'm sorry. Nobody's gonna see that, bro. Everybody who probably was looking at this from the outside in was like, what is this? This is gross, bro. This is gross, man. That's disgusting, man. That's really nasty.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that?
The cherry on top of this stupid Sunday had to be given to Trump, bro. I gotta give Trump his flowers, all right? Because even as she's saying, I forgive him, I'm like, okay, you're gonna forgive him, right? Okay, that's good, right? That's good. I'm glad you're gonna forgive him, okay? Now, I'm sure it has nothing to do with him being a white boy, right? It has nothing to do with him being a white boy. I know. Just like when Nancy Mace was talking about we needed a death penalty, and then we come to find out it's a little white boy from a conservative household, then all of a sudden, well, Jesus needs to forgive him. That's what you have to say. Jesus, Charlie Kirk would have wanted Jesus to forgive him and have him gone to heaven and blah, blah, blah. Bro, that's how they do it, bro.
Brian Allen shared this. Heartbreaking. Nick Fuentes is actually right about Erika Kirk. I didn't think the day would come, but here we are. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way too. I was like, is anybody else noticing this?
It's like, lady, didn't your husband just get his face blown off like 2 seconds ago? And not to be insensitive about it, but everyone's thinking it. No one wants to be the asshole. No one wants to say it. Everyone's thinking it. Everyone was thinking it when she gave the first speech. Everyone was definitely thinking it at the memorial. Nobody wants to say it because it's inappropriate. It's insensitive. I am the troll, right? So I'll be the one to say it. I think it's super inappropriate. I think it's inappropriate. I think it's weird. It's bizarre. Something is off there, and I don't like it.
It is very weird. It's weird. Now, don't get it twisted, because Nick was like switching up on things too. Because after Charlie Kirk's death, he was starting to say like, oh, well, no, maybe we shouldn't, he was starting to switch up some of the things that he said too when it came to censorship. All of a sudden he was pro-censorship. People were criticizing Charlie Kirk's death, etc. So, yeah, you do troll. He does troll sometimes. But to this point, I told you guys, and at first I was kind of hesitant to say it. And I think the first time I said it was like, it might've been last stream when I was like, anybody notice things just moving kind of fast?
We're not awkward. We're not like weird. We're not cringe. We're not going to be tweeting as if it's him. That's tone deaf and really disturbing. And anyone who does that's like morbidly off.
We need to talk about the amount of PR that is being put into Charlie's wife's post. At first, I kind of was just like, yes, she lost her husband. Here's her post. Until I started actually looking through the photos, and even down to the caption, she is so cryptic in her messaging. It's giving Serena joy. It's giving retaliation.
Hang on, we're going to get to the mic.
It's giving, this means war. And you start going through the rest of the videos and the photos, and I'm sorry. You have freshly done nails. You are mic'd up, and you are posting pictures of your deceased husband in his casket. It was an entire scene, and they made sure to get the videos of the soldiers and the video of her just completely distraught. It is weird to me how much effort they are putting into these photos. That is fucked up.
Yeah, to me, I agree. That's okay. So let me back up. I think it's fucked up that they put so much time and effort and PR into her social media post, because there's got to be some image that's maintained. I can also understand them using somebody to help her do social media, and somebody else, comes up with some things for her. I can understand that. The mic'd up part. Who the fuck does that?
Notice the sound. It's a lot. Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. If you are a person of faith and you are calling upon God, your source of strength and inspiration to help you, this is something that you're going to do private, right? No person of faith is going to display this, in this super dramatic, all this whispering, that's not authentic. It just is not. Like, that's very performative, and it's trying to show like, I am a person of faith. I am struggling with this. Like, if you are truly struggling, and this is one thing that you will learn as an actor, a person who is truly struggling is always trying to hide it. That's what we do when we are truly struggling. We try our best to hide it. We don't put it on display. When this is, again, the gesturing, when we gesture to, how we're feeling, or, oh my God, and what am I gonna, this is all fake. Okay, you guys have to realize this. Like, in your regular life, when you are dealing with people in your regular life that do this type of gesturing, just be aware that they are trying to manipulate you, because that's all that is. A person who's truly struggling, you never even can tell, because they are trying to hide it so much. So let's just go on. And also, you notice the crackling sound, the background sound is just horrible, and there's no real reason for it. So moving on.
Good evening. My name is Erika Kirk. Charlie Kirk is my husband. I first want to thank the local, state, and federal law enforcement who worked tirelessly to capture my husband's assassin so that he can be brought to justice.
If we're gonna be honest, I don't know what they told you, boo-boo, but little Indian Valhalla man had nothing to do with it.
And I'll see you in Valhalla.
Yeah, that's correct. He had nothing to do with it. They are incompetent, dear. It was the father of the boy that you should be thanking. You should be thanking him for turning in his son so that, the FBI could take credit for it.
Damn.
Then she goes on to talk about heaven.
2 days ago, my husband, Charlie, went to see the face of his Savior and his God.
Huh?
My husband witnessed for his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
And, whew, I hate to be that guy. I really do. I genuinely, really do. But let me inform you on something. Erika Kirk, come here. Come close. Unless Charlie Kirk in his last breath was repenting for the evil and the wicked and the fear-mongering and the race-baiting and the division he caused on this planet, boo-boo, all due respect, with 100% certainty, I can tell you he's not in heaven. He may be in Valhalla, though.
I want to thank the first responders who struggled heroically.
Okay. This, again, is intolerable to me. I'm going to try to keep it together because I told you guys I would, give you all the tells. But this heroically, that is inauthentic. That is performative, okay? You don't, something that she does a lot in this video, she repeats words that she wants to really let you know that she's feeling. And that is, again, a device. A person who is being authentic is just going to say how they feel, and that's it. If they have to say thank you, they will. And it's just surprising to me, and I'll go into it later in this video, but that a person who has just gone through such a traumatic event, right? Not only was he her spouse, but even if he wasn't, let's pretend, being in a crowd and seeing someone get killed, right, in real time is an extremely traumatic event. This is not something that renders most people able to coherently give a 17-minute speech 2 days later. Most people will be very much unable even to process simple things because your mind is not working in the same way. Your prefrontal cortex has been shut down, pretty much. It's been compromised because your amygdala is in overdrive. Your amygdala, which is fight or flight, which are our emotions. The amygdala, when you see something like this, when you experience a sudden and severe trauma, your amygdala lights up. And when that happens, your prefrontal cortex shuts down. So all of your reasoning, your logic, all of this stuff just goes out the window. That's why a lot of people that go through stuff like this don't even know what time it is, what day it is. Things just lose meaning. But Erika is able not only to keep it together very well, considering, but she's actually being coherent, and she's listing all the first responders. And I'm not saying not to be grateful, but it's just so over the top. And I'm sorry for all that noise. It's just so over the top ridiculous. It's stunning to me how I'm supposed to believe that this is a woman that just went through this type of trauma. So let's continue.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Behavioral Arts. My name is Spidey, and I use my degree in sociology and psychology, my certifications in criminal interrogation and body language analysis, and my experience as an award-winning mentalist to teach people behavioral analysis and practical psychology on stage and television shows all over the world. Shortly after the tragic loss of her husband, Erika Kirk appeared on the Charlie Kirk Show podcast to talk about the future of the program. However, her demeanor sparked a lot of controversy online. Some saw it as uplifting and faith-driven, while others questioned its tone so soon after tragedy. But what do her body language, facial expressions, and word choice actually reveal? Let's dive right in.
Erika Kirk, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks. It's surreal to actually be sitting because last time I was standing, but
yeah,
just to sit, it's a little more emotional.
Yeah. Well, you are rightly at the head of the table, and we're just so honored to have you here. You've been up against so much, and you've been doing an incredible job. The number of messages I've heard just complimenting you and your dignity and your poise and your strength has been overwhelming, and yeah, we're just so glad you're here.
No, I'm grateful. I mean, I know we talked about this, we prayed on it, and we've been very intentional in a way that always keeps Charlie first.
Okay, so a lot to talk about right from the beginning. First off, the moment it starts, as she's introduced, we see her looking at Andrew with a little bit of a tight-lipped smile and a head tilt. In social situations, we see head tilts very commonly in two situations. One is curiosity or skepticism, and the other is in exchanges of sympathy, whether we're requesting sympathy or offering sympathy, like, "Aw, so sorry to hear that." Very common. The research on this is actually fascinating because it discovered that the reason head tilting works really well to convey sympathy is because, for one thing, it exposes the neck, which is very vulnerable, but also because the eyes are no longer parallel, it feels much less like an intimidating glare. It softens the look. So with Erika here, there's likely a request for sympathy, but it can also be her extending sympathy to the staff because they also lost their colleague. Now with this head tilt, we also notice a tight-lipped smile. In this video, we're going to focus a lot on smiles and what differentiates a real smile, also known as a Duchenne smile, from a social smile, also known as a Pan Am smile, due to how flight attendants used to be trained to smile at customers, but it often looked off. So Guillaume Duchenne is the neuroscientist who discovered the muscles that go into a real, authentic smile. You could probably guess that one of the traits of a real smile is the corners of the mouth going up. But the other very important marker is a rising of the other muscles of the face, causing the cheekbones to bubble out a little like this, and a scrunching on the side of the eyes that causes little wrinkles that we call crow's feet. This is why when you see someone actually smiling from real joy, you should be able to see it in the upper face even if you can't see their mouth. You should be able to see it in the eyes and in the cheekbones. With a social or Pan Am smile, the mouth forms a smile, but often the corners of the mouth are a little more pulled back this way rather than going up. And we rarely see it in the eyes or cheekbones. So in this podcast, we will see both these types of smiles from Erika Kirk. In the beginning here, as they're welcoming her, we see a tight-lipped, very social smile, more of an acknowledgement as she's tilting that head. The other thing you'll notice is that her tone is low and her position is pretty closed in. Shoulders are slumped and she's small in her chair. This is a position that we call turtling because it's very similar to a turtle retreating into its shell. There's a lot of research that shows that when we're feeling vulnerable or defensive, we close in on ourselves and become smaller. So all this together suggests that she's starting this interview off in a neutral to slightly closed off state. There are no markers of extreme sadness or real joy. All right, now let's move on to word choice. So there's a very interesting phenomenon that happens twice in this first clip. And it's something we often see in any interaction that has two or more active participants and an audience listening in. So in situations like that, every now and then we see someone say something to this person that they're talking to, but the message is actually intended for the audience. The reason I'm very familiar with this principle is because of my experience as a mentalist and magician. We use this all the time. Like, for example, a magician might bring somebody up on stage and put a coin in a cloth bag and say to the person, look, you could feel the coin in the cloth bag, right? That statement is not for the spectator. The spectator knows that the coin is in the bag. The statement is for the 1,000 people in the audience who go, okay, cool, so the person is confirming that the coin is in there, it must really be in there. So this type of statement that's said to one person but is actually intended for the audience happened twice in this first clip that we looked at.
Save Charles's life. And the police who acted bravely to make sure that there were no other victims on that terrible afternoon. I want to thank the officers who have protected our Turning Point USA family.
I want you to notice how she said that, because her speech got very matter of fact. Like, our Turning Point family, like, how do you, this is not a person, in my opinion, that is in shock. It just isn't. She's very composed. And just let me see if I can replay it.
Victims on that terrible afternoon.
Also, I want to say that terrible afternoon. So when investigators, for example, are interviewing a suspect or a possible suspect, right? One of the first things that they do is they try to distance themselves from what actually happened. So that terrible afternoon, not, the day he got killed, right? So they try to minimize what actually happened, and they try to minimize also like their involvement in it. And sometimes they will even talk about themselves in third person. So everything's kind of like pushed away. So that terrible afternoon, well, I don't know, but I would think that it's more than just like terrible. Like you lost your husband in this very tragic and violent way. Like I think it goes beyond terrible, but why is she diminishing it? Let's go on.
I want to thank the officers who have protected our Turning Point USA family.
See how matter of fact?
These past 2 days.
So matter of fact.
And I want to thank the Turning Point USA board.
The board.
The COO, Justin Strife.
The COO, the board, this is what you're thinking of? This is what's on your head?
I want to thank the staffers of his amazing Charlie Kirk show.
What is there to laugh about? I don't understand these reactions. These reactions are not congruent with what just happened. Not for a person who's in shock, not for a person who's in mourning. And I will address what, I know what you're thinking. I will address this later on. Let's just get through this somehow.
Who helped him broadcast from this studio,
okay, gesturing. I told you guys, right? And it's right on cue. It's like from this, it's to me repulsive. It is perverse what is happening here. So I am trying to keep it together. But this type of gesturing, looking over exactly on cue, on this, like what is that? Like, what is that? This is so using devices for all this drama, for all this, like, I get so upset about this. But anyway, let's continue.
This chair. Every day he loved it. He loved what he did.
Every day.
I want to thank the millions of people who have shown.
Okay, I want you to notice how quickly she turned, right? Because she's going every day. Like she's so heartbroken. And immediately, it turns into every day. I want to thank, notice this, I'm going to rewind.
I want to thank the millions of people who have shown their love for Charlie.
Notice how quickly she changes her demeanor and the tone of her voice on cue.
What he did. I want to thank the millions of people who have shown.
He loved what he did. I want to thank the million. Do you guys not see something wrong with this? Am I the only person here? What?
Oh, Charlie, I love you. I love you, baby. Gigi, our daughter, just ran into my arms. God bless you all. And may God bless America.
There you have it. There you have it. I mean, everyone grieves differently. Yeah, for sure they do. Some withdraw while others lash out. Some turn to drugs and alcohol while others avoid any reminder of their loss. What they don't do is whatever that was. Compare Erika Kirk's reaction to Jackie Kennedy's somber grace or Coretta Scott King's profound grief. That says it all. I won't go into her speech at Charlie's memorial because it's intolerable and it's just more of the same. The whole event was spectacle, stunningly inappropriate, garish, and vulgar, or as Joan Didion would say, so explicit as to suggest nothing beyond itself. A mockery of what a memorial should be, reverent and genuine. Hollow eulogies conjured images of martyrs and saints, of wars and calls to action, language meant to stir the crowd and bury their doubts in emotional distractions. Just notice the reaction when Erika said,
I forgive him.
The message was crystal clear. Let bygones be bygones, and more importantly, stop asking questions. And for some, it worked. One netizen commented, "What you see is a woman who has been transformed from a wife and mother to a Valkyrie." Yeah, sure, maybe. Maybe she is a Valkyrie. Or maybe she's just a widow whose bizarre behavior is sounding alarms that something's definitely off. And the only thing that's been transformed is your ability to think for yourself. See, this is what happens when manipulators invoke mythological tropes and tap into your psyche. You no longer see them as they are, but as they want to be seen. You no longer see the situation as it obviously is, but in a way that's more palatable, maybe more dramatic, more enticing, and closer to what you'd rather believe. Give them bread and circuses, and they will never revolt. And that's exactly what this was, a circus, mounted with all the flair of a Vegas show to entertain and distract, full of dramatic devices and false sentiment, but bereft of all solemnity and respect. So to answer the question, in my opinion, she's faking it. And it's disturbing to see that no one in Charlie's inner circle, not his friends and colleagues at Turning Point, not his family or his parents, and not even his wife, is expressing any sign that they genuinely mourn his loss. Charlie wasn't perfect, but he deserved better.
Two versions of reality. Candace had her own history to settle. Once a rising star, then cast out for being too raw, her exile still burned beneath every word. And now she was back. Louder, sharper, unstoppable. Her new message was simple. The story doesn't add up. No clear footage, no verified angle. Timelines that didn't align. Witness accounts clashing with official statements. She questioned the investigation itself. Not with evidence, but with doubt. The most powerful weapon in the digital age. And people listened. Because in today's world, truth isn't what's proven. It's what trends. Candace knew that. She didn't need to solve the mystery. She only needed to keep it alive. And as her words spread across screens, the line between journalism and theater began to blur. The tragedy was no longer about what happened on that stage. It was about what the world chose to believe. Just like she said, when people argue online, it's never chaos by accident. It's the plan. And in this story, doubt was the fuel. Candace didn't need proof. She never has. She built her empire on unanswered questions, on the tension between what's said and what's hidden. She threw puzzle pieces into the crowd and dared her audience to finish the picture. Every gap in the timeline became a spark. Every rumor became oxygen. She wasn't just mourning, she was mobilizing.
And therefore I'm inspecting it.
You're like
everything
a
is
doctor.
good like that.
Give us the first letter of the country you had sex with.
How many letters are there?
What's interesting is that a model who had once won Miss Arizona in the past had accused Trump of possibly being inappropriate.
In 2001, Tasha Dixon was Miss Arizona, competing in the Miss USA pageant. She experienced this kind of awkward moment firsthand.
Our first introduction to him was when we were at the dress rehearsal and half naked changing into our bikinis.
Dixon was 18 at the time and says watching Trump storm into a dressing room was shocking.
To have the owner come waltzing in when we're naked or half naked in a very physically vulnerable position, and then to have the pressure of the people that work for him telling us to go fawn all over him, go walk up to him, talk to him, get his attention. Who do you complain to? He owns the pageant. So there's no one to complain to. Everyone there works for him.
Now, I'm not saying Trump hooked up with Erika, but I am saying it wouldn't be far-fetched if he did. What we know for sure is that Erika was in Trump's circles since at least 2012. When you look into Charlie Kirk, you find out that he was also in Trump's circle since he was born. Charlie Kirk's father, Robert W. Kirk, was actually an architect and owned the company that designed the Trump Tower in New York City. The Trump Tower was built back in the 1980s before Charlie was even born, clearly linking the Kirk family to Donald Trump from at least the 80s. This explains how Charlie became one of the biggest conservative commentators ever. While he always appeared to be so blindly loyal to Trump, he had Trump's support since the beginning of his career. This is because he was chosen for this role long ago. And I want to start this by saying, I'm not trying to be insensitive or disrespectful. I understand that people grieve differently and that death is a touchy subject. Those who have watched me for years now know that I have no malice intentions with my content. I simply am a man with a mission to find and deliver the truth. The fact that I see things differently and certain things tend to stand out to me allow me to see what others can't see. And I have been looking deep into this, and those of you who saw my Patreon video saw how I exposed the truth behind Charlie Kirk's death. I can confidently say the public is not being told the truth when it comes to this situation. I understand that people love Charlie, but people also have to understand that this world isn't what it seems. This is exactly what I proved about Charlie, and it's what I'm gonna prove about Erika Kirk today. By now, most of you have likely heard the news that Erika Kirk was a part of the Miss USA beauty pageant. She won Miss Arizona back in 2012 when she was only 23. This likely was her first introduction to Donald Trump, who owned Miss USA, purchasing it in 1996 until he sold it in 2015. Now, years after she was Miss USA, she ended up meeting Charlie Kirk back in 2018 when he flew out to New York City to interview her for a job at Turning Point USA. He then asked her on a date, and then 3 years later he married her. This is how they claim their love story began. Well, at least that's what they want us to believe. See, after all the research I've done into this case, I don't believe Charlie and Erika's relationship is organic at all. I believe she's a honeypot partnered with Charlie by those behind Kirk. It's not a coincidence that Kirk ended up marrying a woman who was associated with Trump. Erika Kirk was a part of Trump's pageant show. Trump admitted himself that he had interactions with models on the pageant. In fact, he seemed to suggest that he was more than friendly with them, claiming that he would walk into the dressing rooms while the women were getting dressed. It wouldn't be far-fetched to think Trump was likely hooking up with these models, as it wouldn't be unlike Trump. Just listen to what he said when he was talking about them.
They're standing there with no clue. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that. I'll go backstage before a show. Yes. And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, you know, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant.
We didn't see revolution. Instead, we saw what my husband always prayed he would see in this country. We saw revival. This past week, we saw people open a Bible for the first time in a decade. We saw people pray for the first time since they were children. We saw people go to a church service for the first time in their entire lives. Charlie liked to journal. And I say this because he did it to remember important moments and sayings that affected him. And one of the things he wrote in his journal was this: every time you make a decision, it puts a mark on your soul. To those of you out there who just made that decision and took the first step toward a spiritual life, I say thank you and welcome. One day I hope you look back and realize it was the most important decision of your life, because it is. All of you who are already believers, it is your job to shepherd these people. Do not take that lightly. Water the seed of their faith. Protect it and help it grow. Every day as Charlie rode into the office, he would go through his contact list. And I know there's many of you who were impacted by this. He would go through his contact list and send Bible verses for the day. He knew that faith was a habit. The more you live it, the more it grows. But know this too: the seed has only just been planted. The enemy will tempt you the most in a time like this one. God will always be there for you, but you must choose to mark your soul again and again in the direction of Christ. Pray again. Read the Bible again. Go to church next Sunday and the Sunday after that, and break free from the temptations and shackles of this world. Being a follower of Christ is not easy. It's not supposed to be. Jesus said, if anyone would come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross and follow me. He said he would be persecuted. He said we would be persecuted. And Charlie knew that and happily carried his cross all the way to the end. And I want all of you to know, while Charlie died far too early, he was also ready to die. There was nothing he was putting off. There was nothing that was too hard or too painful, or nothing that he just felt like he didn't want to do it. He left this world without regrets. He did 100% of what he could every day. But I want you to know something. Charlie died with incomplete work, but not with unfinished business. But I will miss him. I will miss him so much because our marriage and our family were beautiful. They still are. The greatest cause in Charlie's life was trying to revive the American family. When he spoke to young people, he was always eager to tell them about God's vision for marriage and how, if they could just dare to live it out, it would enrich every part of their life in the same way that it enriched ours. And someone once asked me how Charlie and I, how we kept our marriage so strong when he was busy traveling. And our little secret, it was love notes. Every Saturday, Charlie wrote one for me, and he never missed a Saturday. And in every single one of them, he'd tell me what his highlight was for the week, how grateful he was for me and our babies. And always at the end, he would always end it with asking the most beautiful question. He'd always end it by asking, please let me know how I can better serve you as a husband. Charlie perfectly understood God's role for a Christian husband. A man who leads so that they can serve. To all the men watching around the world, accept Charlie's challenge and embrace true manhood. Be strong and courageous for your families. Love your wives and lead them. Love your children and protect them. Be the spiritual head of your home. But please be a leader worth following. Your wife is not your servant. Your wife is not your employee. Because when you stop the conversation, when you stop the dialogue, this is what happens. When we lose the ability and the willingness to communicate, we get violence. And as I stand here now, and I look at this beautiful photo of my husband in front of me, hanging in the stadium, I think of my husband 13 years ago. I hadn't met him yet. He was 18 years old, a man barely out of high school, running around the halls of the RNC without $1 in his pocket and a single contact in his phone. People who saw him said that he didn't know what he was doing, but he did. He did know what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was going to change the world, and he did. Charlie's life was a turning point for this country. It was a miracle. Let that miracle that was Charlie's life be your turning point as well. Choose prayer. Choose courage. Choose beauty. Choose adventure. Choose family. Choose a life of faith. Most importantly, choose Christ. I love you, Charlie, baby. And I will make you proud. God bless you all, and God bless America.
Nobody can tell me that this is a grieving widow. Like, this woman's husband was publicly assassinated, 3 weeks ago, and she's already sitting down with a smile to host his podcast? Girl didn't even wait a month. I don't even know if they buried the guy yet. Holy.
That man, that young man, I forgive him.
Girl, please. Even a 5-year-old actress can put up a better performance than that. Erika really had us fooled because we thought she was really grieving Charlie's death. Word on the street is she knew Charlie was going to be deleted and even helped them carry out that plan. Candace Owens has been calling BS on this whole thing right from the very start, claiming that Charlie was taken out by billionaires after he refused to push their agenda. Initially, it seemed like she was just talking out of spite, but it looks like she was actually onto something the entire time. Erika was the last person anyone expected to be involved, especially since Charlie is literally her husband, but baby. The truth is coming out, and there's a chance that she might get arrested any day from now. When Charlie was gunned down, the FBI was quick to release surveillance footage of a person who they claim was a person of interest. That person has since been identified as Tyler Robinson. However, some people still believe he's innocent and actually being set up and blackmailing him.
A couple of weeks ago, before Charlie lost his life, Charlie was in the Hamptons. He had essentially what was staged, an intervention was staged by Bill Ackman, because Charlie's rational thoughts about Israel were a no-no. This is not the route that you should be going on. And Charlie was surrounded by his friends, his quote-unquote friends. Bill Ackman was very upset, and threats were made. He was asked to dispute this narrative. Max Blumenthal went out to him today, and Bill Ackman came back and said, I have receipts I can show you, and he did not provide the receipts. It was at this time that Bibi Netanyahu was called and Charlie was invited to Israel. This was an under duress situation, I would say. And I know that Charlie was offered a ton of money in this moment. Turning Point, I guess, if it needs to go to a higher level, would have gone to an even higher level than it already was at. And I know for a fact that Charlie denied that funding. Are all of us, collectively, the globe, we're tired of you guys, okay? It's always about money, threats, all of this stuff. It's ridiculous. Do what we say or we'll ruin your life. We're gonna call up all our friends and we'll just start writing hit pieces about you and we'll destroy you. Do what we say or we'll have you canceled. We'll have your sponsorships dropped. Do what we say or we'll make sure that you're fired. We'll put pressure so that you can't earn an income. If you're still not gonna listen to us and you survive that, we're gonna sue you for everything you have. You guys suck, okay? We don't care about your money. We are tired of it. This reveals who you are, not who I am. The truth should be enough. I've offered him my platform. If there is more you'd like to say, Bill, I guess everything about money to you. Why do you think having money makes you a decent human being? Why are you so soulless? What is wrong with you? Do you understand that spiritually something is wrong with you? If your instinct, just so you guys know, regular people don't behave like that. I want you to know, because I don't think you recognize your own flaws. When regular people have like a little tiff, they just have a conversation, okay? So like if I have a disagreement and I say it's not what I did, I don't say I'm gonna destroy your life, okay? I'm gonna make you lose your job and I'm gonna sue you, okay? That's a demonic force that lives in you. But you have to know, your money instinct is not right. It's crazy. And everyone's paying attention to it. Answer the questions and I will publish the truth.
It wasn't just these shady billionaires that people were suspecting. They were also side-eyeing Charlie's wife, Erika Kirk. Right from the moment he died, she has been moving funny. For starters, right after Candace got on her show to question the inconsistencies in Charlie's death, Erika removed her from the guest list for Charlie's memorial. I don't know about you guys, but most people will at least look into it to see if there is really any chance that their husband's life was strategically ended. Not Erika, though. She decided it would be a good idea to basically punish the only person calling for a proper investigation into the death of her husband. In fact, she accepted Charlie's death very quickly and went on stage to give that fake speech, claiming that she forgave him. A lot of people couldn't help but notice how emotionless and staged her speech sounded.
I understand some of you may be upset. So let me go to the scripture that Charlie Kirk alleged was professed to be spreading to the people. Let's go. I brought the scripture. Let's go to, if the congregation will follow, Matthew 7. We'll start with verse 17. Bear with me. So every good tree bears good fruit, but the bad tree bears bad fruit.
I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Interesting. A good tree cannot produce bad fruit, nor can a bad tree produce good fruit.
This shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad, it was evil, but what happened? Something changed.
Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. So then, you will know them from their fruits. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven.
I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage.
But he who does the will of my Father, who is in heaven, will enter. Many will say to me on that day, Judgment Day, what Charlie Kirk faced, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name? And in your name cast out demons? And in your name perform many miracles? And I will declare to them, I never knew you. You depart from me, you who practices lawlessness.
Honestly, I'm done talking about Epstein for the time being.
Yeah, so I'm letting you know, according to the scripture that he said to believe, that y'all said to believe, he's not in heaven, okay? But I can give you maybe some reassurance as to where he is, according to the scripture. Let the congregation follow me to Matthew 13, verse 49. So it will be at the end of age, the angels will come forth and take out the wicked
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. And Kirk's self-described very, very radical view that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true.
From among the righteous, and will throw them into the furnace of fire. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Yeah. Charlie is weeping and gnashing his teeth right now, according to the own scripture, okay? Just so we're clear. Now, I know it's a nice little thought bubble to believe that everyone that you loved went to heaven, okay? But like I said, Charlie Kirk has a better chance in Valhalla than in the heaven that he professed to believe in.
The reality of the situation is, and I think it's about time we start talking about this, in the days, weeks, and hours after Charlie Kirk was brutally assassinated, Erika Kirk asked for money. Now, some people might be saying, Brian, leave her alone now, she's a widow. Brian, leave her alone, let her grieve. Some of you might be saying that. But I have a job to do, and that is to be honest with all of you. Doesn't mean everybody's going to agree with me. I believe she is trying to financially take advantage of the fact...
she's asking for money everywhere, not to interrupt you, but everywhere possible.
I believe she is absolutely grifting off of her husband's brutal assassination attempt. How do we know this? Friends of mine have sent me text messages that they've gotten from Turning Point USA with Kirk's name on it as she makes statements about how much she loved her husband, and then asking people for money. Now, let me be very clear on this. If this was a family that didn't have the means to bury their loved one, I think that's a good thing that you come out and you ask people for help. That's what makes America great. No problem. I implore you to do that, actually. Erika Kirk and the Kirk family are worth tens of millions of dollars. Think about that. She's asking you all for money. She also puts out a video, which I thought was very creepy and disturbing, where Charlie Kirk is lying in the casket. And as you've seen the video and we've talked about it, she's holding her husband's hands. This was obviously prearranged with someone with a camera. Somehow they thought that this would be nice to, hey, I got an idea. Why don't we record you crying over your husband's dead body, and then we'll ask people for money. Ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what they did. Is that normal? Is that normal? No. I would call that grifting, and I think it's sick. Now, I'm going to play you some audio, and then I want you to respond to this. This is Nick Fuentes. Again, Nick Fuentes, despicable human being, okay?
Not a good guy.
Horrible person. However, once in a while, a squirrel can find a nut now and then, okay? Tell me if you disagree with Nick Fuentes, because he's basically echoing some of the things that I'm saying here. This is what he had to say about Erika Kirk and her behavior the last several weeks.
It's like, lady, didn't your husband just get his face blown off like 2 seconds ago? And not to be insensitive about it, but everyone's thinking it. No one wants to be the asshole. No one wants to say it. Everyone's thinking it. Everyone was thinking it when she gave the first speech. Everyone was definitely thinking it at the memorial. Nobody wants to say it because it's inappropriate. It's insensitive. I am the troll, right? So I'll be the one to say it. I think it's super inappropriate. I think it's inappropriate. I think it's weird. It's bizarre. Something is off there, and I don't like it. But they're doing the Super Bowl commentators with the headsets on, doing a media table. They're selling merch, registering voters. They got pyrotechnics. Is this WrestleMania or is this a funeral? Like, what are we doing here? And then, the day after the funeral, I'm getting 500 texts and emails. Erika Kirk here. I miss him. Every time I blink, every beat of my heart. Make sure to donate $5, $15, $25. It's like, okay. Then they're doing a show. Did you see the show today? And so prescient. I said it last night. I said, I'm getting like a fake vibe. Something's off there. And people say, well, everybody grieves differently. Yeah, I don't know how much mileage we can get out of that one anymore. Something's not right there. very bizarre, weird vibe there. And did you see the show? Erika hosted the Charlie Kirk show this afternoon, and she's like, she looks like she's over the moon. She's happy as a clam. And again, who am I to judge? Everybody grieves differently. She's a very devout Christian. Some people say maybe that's just strength, that's resolve. I don't know. It's one thing if your husband dies, period. It's another thing if your husband dies at age 31, unexpectedly. It's another thing if your 31-year-old husband unexpectedly dies because he gets publicly executed with blood gushing out in front of thousands of people screaming and running away. That's like something that's altogether different.
So, again, it might shock some of you, but I actually agree with Nick Fuentes. It might be the only thing we agree on here. Yeah, it's very weird behavior, and it's grifting behavior, and I think it's anti-Christian.
I don't see the Christian. I was going to say that I don't see the Christianity in at all. They're using people. They're tugging at their heartstrings, and then asking for money, and constantly, every day, text messages, emails, social media. It seems like she's obsessed, but I think the people she's around think that's okay because, money is probably their real god.
Candace roared back with fury, accusing the world of letting the story die. To her, silence wasn't strength, it was guilt. Her mantra echoed everywhere: silence equals complicity. Suddenly, the nation was watching a morality play unfold in real time. Two women, two truths, one standing tall, refusing to be dragged into chaos. The other, a relentless voice screaming that calm itself was the cover-up. Which one looked real? Which one looked righteous? Was grief more believable in quiet tears or in public rage? As Erika whispered her vow to continue the work, Candace thundered that the only thing more dangerous than the bullet was letting the story fade away. While the country was still catching its breath, the movement Charlie built refused to stop. No pause, no silence, no space to mourn. His American comeback tour didn't die with him, it just got louder. Brighter lights, bigger stages, louder crowds. The show went on like nothing had happened, as if grief itself had been written out of the script. And that's when things turned surreal. Within days, the stages filled with familiar faces. Star commentators, political heavyweights, influencers, all taking turns beneath Charlie's banner. Each speech looked less like tribute and more like audition. Who could speak like him? Who could channel his fire best? Who could claim the torch or the throne? Commentators online called it cosplaying Kirk, and once you saw it, you couldn't unsee it. Every panel, every headline, every rally carried the same echo. Not of unity, but of ambition. The chill in the air was impossible to ignore. What should have been a memorial had become a stage play about power. Charlie's absence didn't leave a void. It left an opportunity, and everyone wanted a piece. Nowhere was that spectacle more visible than his public memorial. The stadium overflowed, lights blazing, music swelling, part ceremony, part show. What should have been a farewell looked more like a political rally. One speaker blurred the line between faith and politics completely, comparing Charlie's death to martyrdom, wrapping theology around ideology until no one could tell them apart. Then came the comment that silenced the room, vague, sharp, unforgettable. Somewhere, people are sitting around, deciding what to do about a man who told too much truth. A wink to one audience, a warning to another. The crowd erupted, half in tears, half in cheers. By the end of that night, any illusion of unity was gone. What once was a movement grieving together had splintered into factions, each trying to own the legacy, the message, the myth. Charlie's name wasn't just remembered, it was repurposed. His mission wasn't a calling anymore, it had become a crown, and everyone was reaching for it. His legacy wasn't a mission anymore, it was a weapon, wielded in a dirty power struggle for influence. As eulogies thundered from the stage, whispers behind the curtain grew louder. Everyone wanted to control the story, and in that noise, lines blurred between grief and ambition. One voice, louder than the rest, began pointing fingers. She painted a picture of powerful elites, shadowy meetings, whispered warnings, friendly advice that sounded more like veiled threats. She didn't name names directly. She didn't need to. The internet did it for her. Screens lit up with speculation, receipts, screenshots, leaked texts, all dissected in real time. Those who denied wrongdoing only fueled the blaze. Because in today's climate, every denial feels like confirmation, and every rebuttal looks like a cover-up. Soon, the conversation wasn't about one meeting anymore. It became a battlefield of narratives. Podcasts turned into gladiator arenas, each host trying to shout louder, think darker, dig deeper. Some insisted the tragedy was punishment, that stepping away from the party line had a price. Others said it was just opportunists chasing clout off a coffin. Every theory contradicted the last. Every voice screamed over the next. And as the chaos grew, so did the spectacle. Billionaires, influencers, commentators, all fighting to define a legacy that wasn't even theirs. The man at the center of it all wasn't a leader anymore. He was a symbol, one the world was now fighting to own. By then, truth had stopped being the goal. It had become the prize. The spectacle had become unstoppable, an all-consuming circus of noise, outrage, and obsession. Even lawmakers jumped in for sound bites. And online, one notorious site began cataloging comments and flagging users, what critics called a public witch hunt for anyone who dared to disagree. But while the world screamed about billionaires and cover-ups, the real implosion wasn't online. It was happening behind closed doors, inside the family itself. Whispers spread quietly. Not everyone under that roof was united. Some relatives wondered if her composure was real or rehearsed. Were her statements careful or calculated? Others defended her fiercely, saying the only priority left was protecting the children. No reports, no proof, no leaks. Just tension simmering under the surface. The kind that turns a home into a powder keg when the whole world refuses to look away. For Erika, the trap was merciless. One side, critics tearing at her every day online. The other, former allies turning her husband's memory into a public battleground. She stood alone in the middle, trying to hold her family together while the empire around her tore itself apart. A close associate tried to explain it once. He said she wasn't the problem, the chaos was. The loudest voices always drown out the truth, and in this storm, even loyalty sounded like suspicion. The family's silence, once seen as dignity, now looked like defense. Every word Erika spoke was analyzed, twisted, replayed frame by frame. To some, she was grace under fire. To others, she was hiding something. Was she shielding her children or shielding herself? The world couldn't decide. And the cruelest part, they didn't want to. Because when grief goes viral, truth isn't what people seek, it's what keeps them watching. Meanwhile, Candace kept turning up the heat. Her tone sharpened, her audience swelled, and her message hit harder every day. To her millions of followers, this wasn't just tragedy. It was corruption at the highest levels, a story being rewritten before their eyes. She didn't present facts, she presented questions, each one delivered like a challenge. No clear footage, timelines that don't match, witnesses saying one thing, authorities saying another, and somehow the story's already closed. That's not justice, that's convenience. Her words hit like sparks in a dry field. She didn't need to prove anything, she just needed people to doubt everything. And they did. Every missing detail became evidence. Every contradiction turned into a clue. Within hours, her followers flooded the internet with hashtags and outrage. Justice for Charlie, who knows the truth, stay loud. Clips of Erika's calm restraint went viral right next to Candace's fiery takedowns, creating a perfect split screen of two Americas. One grieving quietly, one demanding noise. Comment sections became battlegrounds. Half called Erika a symbol of grace, the other half accused her of knowing more than she let on. The headlines couldn't keep up, but the hashtags could. Each new live stream, each new podcast poured more fuel on the blaze. What started as sorrow had turned into digital trench warfare. No one was waiting for the truth anymore. They were fighting for their version of it. Candace had built a movement, not with proof, but with passion. And her conviction, whether driven by purpose or pride, was now rewriting the entire conversation. By the end of that first week, it wasn't Candace versus Erika anymore. It was a civil war of belief, and every scroll, every comment, every click kept the fire alive. Erika stayed in her role, composed, precise, unshaken. To some, it looked like strength. To others, it looked like strategy. Because in a world addicted to outrage, silence doesn't look noble, it looks guilty. Behind the curtain, the fractures kept spreading. Even inside her own circle, whispers started to surface. Some said her calm was rehearsed, her grief too polished. Others defended her fiercely. She was a mother shielding her children from a circus that refused to end. But once those whispers escaped, the internet devoured them. Private doubts became public cant. Message boards and commentary channels picked apart every gesture, every glance, every pause. And suddenly, strangers online weren't debating the tragedy, they were debating her. Who could be trusted? Who was hiding something? The digital jury never rested. At a candlelight vigil, cameras zoomed in on her folded hands. Too steady, too still. One viral caption screamed, "She's acting." At another event, a single tear rolled down her cheek. Instantly, the clip was reposted with the headline, "Too late, too fake." Every blink became evidence. Every sigh, a headline. And in that endless cycle of judgment, Erika couldn't win. If she cried, she was performing. If she stood tall, she was cold.
The first was right off the top. When she was introduced, she said that it was surreal to be sitting in this room because the last time she was in this room on camera, she was standing.
It's surreal to actually be sitting because last time I was standing, but
yeah. Now, if this is something that she wanted to say to the guys that she's sitting with, she would have said it when they first got into the room and sat down. She wouldn't wait for the cameras to be rolling. What's actually happening here is that she's saying this message to the guys, but she actually intends it for the audience to remind us that the last time she was in that room, she was standing and it was a very sad situation. The second statement that fits this category comes when Andrew says, "You've been doing an incredible job. The number of messages I've heard complimenting your dignity and your poise and your strength has been overwhelming."
The number of messages I've heard just complimenting you and your dignity and your poise and your strength has been overwhelming, and yeah, we're just so glad you're here.
Again, this message is said to Erika, but it's actually meant for the audience. This is likely something that he said to her before the cameras were on, not to mention that she's seen the very same messages, she's heard the same messages, but this is a way to let the audience know how overwhelmingly positive the messages they're getting are. This could also be a way to minimize the critics that are commenting on social media by explicitly saying how overwhelmingly positive the feedback has been. So both of these moments are subtle attempts at perception management. They're saying these things to each other, but there's a little message in there for the audience. Finally, the last thing that I want to touch on is something that I'm sure a lot of you noticed, and it's the fact that right at the end, the moment she mentions Charlie, she looks up. This is something she's going to be doing a lot during the podcast. It's a behavior that's quite common in religious people and might explain some of the behaviors that we're about to see moving forward.
I gave assurance to people that Turning Point USA is continuing, and it is. I mean, we are so blessed to have more work than we even could ever dream of. I mean, it's beautiful, and Turning Point Action, full steam ahead, so powerful. All of the other programs within Turning Point USA, everyone knows what they're doing. Everyone has their marching orders. And the show, when we talked about this, became very intimate for me because I was there from the beginning of all of it. And I'll never forget 2020 when literally the world stood still and Charlie and I would go hiking every morning. And we would just talk about what life, the crazy things going on. And
okay, so here we're really seeing her body language come to life. For one thing, we are seeing a lot of Duchenne smiles. Her face and eyes are very much engaged. And it happens a lot when she's talking about their work and their mission, and when she's reminiscing about the good old days with Charlie. She's feeling genuine happiness when it comes to these things. Now, there's been quite a bit of conversation online as to whether or not this amount of happiness is typical, given the circumstances, and later on in the video, when we've seen a little more, we'll address that. But for now, just note that these are behaviorally real moments of joy. And the smiles are not the only thing coming to life. We are also seeing a lot of eyebrow flashes. This is when the eyebrows go up mid-conversation. Now, the research on eyebrow flashes tells us that universally, it happens in three contexts very often. The first one is with emphasis. We emphasize with those eyebrows, and it's very often accompanied with vocal emphasis as well. The second one is some sort of social connection or approval, like when we greet someone and those eyebrows go up. And the third is with surprise. So think of the eyebrows as the exclamation point of the face. When something is important, those eyebrows go up. So in this clip, we saw, and we're going to continue to see, a lot of eyebrow flashes with Erika Kirk. But a really major one that we just saw in this clip is when she said, "I gave assurances to people that Turning Point is continuing." This is emphasis. It's important for her to make sure the viewers know that they're going full steam ahead. And a major point of this podcast is to give those assurances and talk about what they have in store, the mission. This would also explain why she looks right at the camera and smiles as she says this. She's talking directly to the viewers. Okay, so her smiles and eyebrows have come to life, but you'll also notice her arm has come to life. Not her arms, her arm. Because moving forward for the rest of the interview, we could see that her left arm is quite animated, doing what we call illustrators. These are gestures that we use to illustrate what we're saying, but most of the time, her right arm is very still. This is really interesting and caught my attention because it's unusual to see someone illustrate with only one hand, especially this much. Like, notice how when I speak naturally, it's normal to illustrate with both hands, and sometimes they're synced, they're doing more or less the same thing, but sometimes we use one a little here and the other one does this, but it's so much more natural to use both hands than to have just one hand illustrating while the other one doesn't move at all. Now, in the very beginning of the podcast, we did see her right hand come up and illustrate a little, and then it went down and we pretty much never saw it move again, or very rarely. Now, a few things could explain this asymmetry, but it most commonly indicates some type of built-up tension that we are seeing on the right side. The hand might be squeezing something or kind of self-soothing like this, but the fact that it's not matching the energy of her other hand and her face and her overall body language is a very interesting contrast. All right, now we're going to look at some scenes that shed some light on the overall dynamic of the group, which might be affecting her behaviors and I don't think is being talked about enough online. But before we do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on for more behavioral analysis and practical psychology content, and take a quick second to like this video because it really does help with the growth of the channel.
But not only that, he had a team, still does, all of you, that was the sounding board of that. And collectively, each one of you are a piece of his brain. I know we've talked about this. Blake, economics, foreign policy. Andrew, pretty much a lot of stuff. Mikey, humor, Christianity, youth, sports, socials, youth, social, pop culture was Daisy. Like, everyone has a piece of his brain that still lives on. And so what I'm getting at here is the Charlie Kirk show is not going anywhere. My husband's voice will live on.
A lot of people online are focusing solely on her mood and her vibe. But we could see here in this clip and other points in this podcast that she's not the only one who's all smiles and joy. All four of them are in a very light, often joyful state with a lot of smiles going around. So she's very much matching the energy of the room, of the other three people who are there with her. If she didn't do this, it would instantly seem very odd to a lot of people. You see, we're genetically built to notice incongruity. When things stand out or are very unique or don't match the rest of the environment, we subconsciously take notice. It's part of survival instinct. The voice of the youth, the voice of the base, and that will not end. And when she says that will not end, it's not just an eyebrow flash, but we see those eyes open up really wide for a major moment of emphasis. This is again her focusing and putting emphasis on the mission and the future plans to keep going.
And the members only will continue to grow, and that will be the tight-knit network of family members that supported and loved Charlie and the team. And that's what it is. It's a family and a team. And this is not going anywhere. It's just not. We need to be able to have people have a show where they can ask questions. Hey, I'm up against this. What would Charlie say? And we play a clip of what Charlie said a month ago, a year ago. We have speeches that no one's heard of. We have interviews that no one's heard of. We have stuff from Korea and Japan that no one's heard of.
Podcasts.
So, I mean, we have so many amazing things down the pipeline that we are working on currently that will
unveil in due time.
I am so excited.
Yeah.
And so,
and by the way, those are things Charlie himself
that he wanted.
We were working on some big things, right up until the end, and we've talked about that a lot. Like a lot of the guiding vision that we're using right now to kind of steady the ship and figure out where we're going is the things Charlie himself 100%. Told us where we were going.
All right, so in this segment, she's getting really excited and worked up about some of the future projects and all this footage that they have that no one's seen before and that they're going to use, and that Charlie's voice is going to keep going. And she talks about members, and she, talks about how the members are a tight-knit family. And she mentions the members numerous times throughout the podcast, by the way. But here she's really going into all the plans that they have and all this footage that they have that nobody's seen. And I think what happens is that Andrew notices that it's feeling a little bit sales pitchy. And this is why I believe he jumps in by saying, and by the way, these are all things that Charlie himself wanted. And Charlie is the guiding vision. That Charlie told us that this is what he wanted to do. And I think a big part of it is his awareness in the back of his mind that there are a lot of people who watch their program that are not necessarily a fan of Turning Point, but were a fan of Charlie himself. So as Erika is focusing on saying, oh no, you're still gonna get Charlie Kirk footage that you've never seen before, I think Andrew knows that some of the fans are looking at this going, yeah, but that's like his footage, and now you guys are going to be using that. It might feel a little weird to some of the fans, so he's making sure to jump in there and go, yeah, but hold on, we want to make sure you understand this is what Charlie wanted. This is coming directly from him. Now that he's not here, we're just going to execute his plan. It's not like we're taking these videos that he didn't want to release or hadn't released and we're using them. We're just following the plan that he had put in place for us.
I just am excited. It's weird to say excited, but it's also very surreal to say it because I know that God will use all of this in a way that will glorify him, further Charlie's legacy, and Charlie's up in heaven just having...
He's rooting us on. I know that.
He's so rooting us on.
Okay, I believe that to be one of the most important clips of this whole segment. She says she's excited, not for the first time, by the way. Then with this eye block, she says, I know it's weird to say excited. And she opens her eyes and we see a rapid succession of blinks as soon as she opens her eyes. So the research on eye blocking or closing the eyes in the middle of a conversation like this tells us that it's very consistent with focus. So either we're trying to focus on something or we're trying to focus away from something. Like we don't want to think about this thing. And we even see this in children who are born blind. So this is innate to all humans. So it's either to keep a thought in or keep a thought out. And when blink rate goes up, especially like this, like a quick burst of bum, 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 this is very consistent with processing information or emotion. So whether you're thinking back to something and trying to process it, or you're getting emotionally worked up and you're trying to process that emotion, we see these rapid succession of blinks that we call eye flutters. So this whole thing together indicates that she's having some sort of struggle with this excitement of hers. But the key element here is that she's acknowledging that it's odd. She's saying, I know it's weird to say that I'm excited. So this is really interesting. The fact that she's openly admitting this tells me that not only she understands it's an odd way to feel, but presumably she also understands that it looks weird to the viewers watching in. It also tells me that if she wanted to modify the way she's coming off to suit expectations, she would hold back on the excitement and maybe have these little fabricated moments of sadness or grief, or she would try to play more into that side of things. The fact that she didn't do that is a very good sign that this excitement that she acknowledges is weird is in fact quite genuine, and instead of suppressing it, she's deciding to let it out and acknowledge that it's a little weird. You see, she's in a bit of a catch-22 situation. Really think about this for a sec. Imagine if you had recently suffered a great loss and you're going through a bunch of emotions, but in this moment, on this podcast, you're sitting in your loved one's chair, surrounded by people that he was very close to, and you're feeling this genuine excitement. And you're feeling excited to continue his legacy. And you're happy to think about his memory, and you feel connected to your faith. For whatever reason, you feel happy and excited in this moment. Now, we don't control our emotions, and this just happens to be the way that you're feeling right now. What do? In this situation, she only really has two options. The first one is to give in to this weird excitement and let it show, and then get rinsed online because she's too happy. Her second option is to try to summon sadness or act sad and get rinsed online for not being genuine. There literally isn't a good option for her here. Either we're going to look at what she's doing and go, she's oddly happy, or we're going to look at it and say she's being fake and inauthentic. I guess she chose oddly happy and then acknowledged it.
Like, I just don't, like, I don't know. Like, do you guys know people that lost a spouse or a significant other? And how were they acting? Because everyone that I know that happened to, they were not grinning and smiling and ready to go on shows. And It just, they weren't thinking about business at all. At all. Let's go on.
But they're doing the Super Bowl commentators with the headsets on, doing a media table. They're selling merch, registering voters. They got pyrotechnics. Is this WrestleMania or is this a funeral? Like, what are we doing here? And then, the day after the funeral, I'm getting 500 texts and emails. Erika Kirk here. I miss him. Every time I blink, every beat of my heart. Make sure to donate. $5, $15, $25. It's like, okay. Then they're doing a show. Did you see the show today? And so prescient. I said it last night. I said, I'm getting like a fake vibe. I'm not, something's off there. And people say, well, everybody grieves differently. Yeah, I don't know how much mileage we can get out of that one anymore. Something's not right there. Very bizarre, weird vibe there. And did you see the show? Erika hosted the Charlie Kirk show this afternoon, and she's like, she looks like she's over the moon. She's happy as a clam. And again, who am I to judge? Everybody grieves differently. She's a very devout Christian. Some people say maybe that's just strength, that's resolve. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Because I have just never seen, I'm sorry, I've never seen this type of behavior. The last thing that I would be thinking about is, oh, well, the business got, I wouldn't even be in that right mindset, like at all, especially not just the fact of how her spouse died, the way that he died. I think circumstances do matter sometimes. Like if you know that someone, like your significant other, like is sick or whatever, and you've already been told that this day is coming, I think you have a little bit more time to prepare for that, but you still are going to grieve. This came out of nowhere. And so to me, I just don't understand it. I really don't. I would not be in the right frame of mind to come forward and say, well, yeah, let's talk about what we're going to do next with Turning Point USA. I wouldn't be thinking about that at all. And I have questions, and I think you may as well. Check this out. Thank you for this article, sir. I think his name is Sir Escanar. Thank you for this. He put these pieces together, and then we'll show you the video from Nico. So, like, America, the Erika Kirk files. So, like, I didn't know all this. I didn't know that she was, like, in beauty pageants or whatever, but I saw that and I was like, okay, whatever. What's the big deal? But then I got to the Romania part, and that was a little bit weird. It says, meet Erika Kirk, Miss Arizona 2012, Trump pageant girl, casting director. Okay. Nothing alarming to me there so far. Now the widowed queen inheriting Charlie Kirk's empire. But peel back the traditional wife veneer and you'll find something darker. 2. She ran Romanian Angels, an orphan ministry in Constanta, Romania. Locals accused it of trafficking children under the guise of mission work. Exactly the model exposed in the Clinton Foundation scandals in Guatemala through Save the Children. So, why Romania? That's random as hell. People have to know, like, in some of these countries, like Romania, Moldova, some of these countries where there may be a little bit more corruption than even what we're used to here in the United States, and nobody cares about these kids that are at these orphanages, there's exploitation that can take place. Let's continue on, because this is some wild stuff. It goes on to say here, she started this ministry for orphans at 17 years old in conjunction with the US and Romanian military. Those Romanian orphans are exported to the UK, Israel, and undisclosed hands. Highlight Israel. Philanthropy or pipeline? Is Erika Kirk Romanian? No? Okay, just checking. 3, her resume writes itself like a honeypot manual. Trump's Miss America 2012, Trump-owned pageant, casting director, founder of multiple nonprofits with orphan projects, married into MAGA's golden boy after falling in love over an interview set up by Trump's team. That's not coincident, that's placement. And that's what I was trying to ask you guys. What if it was arranged? What if they were just put together? What if it was more like a business matchup? Like, for example, like Hillary and Bill Clinton. You guys really believe that Bill and Hillary, maybe Hillary, think she might have been more in love with him than him with her? You really believe that wasn't arranged? That wasn't like a business relationship? So this is what I'm wondering. 4, her father, DOD plus Raytheon Israeli division. Now again, she can't help what job her parents had, but I'm just putting all these pieces together. We have the dad for the Department of Defense plus Raytheon, the Israeli division. We have the orphan kids coming from Romania, and one of the places that they were sent to was Israel. We also know, as reported by CBS News of all places years ago, that Israel has become a hotbed for convicted sex offenders. They can go live there and just chill. Connecting the dots. The mother, listen to what she says about the mom.
How did your mom choose Phoenix?
So she chose to move to Phoenix from Ohio because there was more of...
Sorry, let's start back here. Okay, here we go.
How did your mom choose Phoenix?
So she chose to move to Phoenix from Ohio because there was more of an opportunity for a female business owner out here. Especially from the standpoint of she was getting involved with the government, so Homeland Security and Department of Defense. And so she had other business partners that were out here that were already in that industry, especially from the standpoint of she was getting involved with the government, so Homeland Security and Department of Defense. She was getting involved with the government, so Homeland Security and Department of Defense.
So Mom worked for Homeland Security and the Department of Defense. Pops worked for the DOD plus Raytheon Israeli division. So if it is true that children were allegedly trafficked from Romania and some of them sent to places like Israel under this nonprofit that she had, when you have parents where one of them works in the Israeli division of Raytheon and you have a mom who was Homeland Security and Department of Defense, do you really think that the government is going to hold you accountable? Or any of those people involved accountable? I would say hell's no. Let's go on. Again, this is just weird. Her parents, prominent Zionists. Her grandfather, Carl Kenneth Francie, vice president of American Banknote Company. Yes, the ones tied to secure printing and IDs, was Grand Chief of the Independent Order of Vikings, knighted by the King of Sweden. That's not some random traditional wife. She was wealthy before knowing Charlie. 5. Zoom out. The architecture is deja vu. Roy Cohn built the CIA sex kitten blackmail machine. We talked about Roy Cohn before on the show. He also had represented Donald Trump before in the 70s. And for those who are not aware, for whatever reason, during the 70s in New York City, it appears that if you were involved in real estate in some way, shape, or form, somehow there was some type of tie or whatever to the mob. There was connection there because a lot of times, like back in that day, the mob was involved in real estate. Roy Cohen came in to defend Donald Trump. Yeah, I've watched so many documentaries about this, that Roy Cohen came in and he was also connected to organized crime. If you read Whitney Webb's articles, her Epstein series, and read her books, she also mentions Roy Cohen and his connections to organized crime. Let's continue on. Epstein wasn't a fluke. He was a franchise plug-in. Erika's pageant to angel trajectory fits the blueprint. Why would a young multimillionaire from an initiated family become a Trump pageant girl? Unless Erika attended a Jesuit university, Regis University, located in Denver, Colorado. Guess who else attended a Jesuit school? Again, Erika was recruited into modeling. Her first pageants were Donald Trump-owned Miss USA pageants, winning Miss Arizona in 2012. Was she set up for Charlie the way Melania was set up for Donnie? Brought to the U.S. by Paolo Zampalli, we covered him before, a modeling agent with ties to Mossad, Epstein's orbit, and elite trafficking rings. Starting to notice a pattern here? 6. Even the branding repeats. Tate's Angels, the cam girl, trafficking ring. Romanian Angels, Erika's orphan project accused of trafficking. Angels, as cover for export pipelines of flesh on the younger side. Don't forget Epstein's financier Lex Wexner's Victoria's Secret Angels. Epstein had power of attorney over Wexner's estate. And we all know what those angels are all about, don't we? Questions, questions, questions. Charlie's Angels. This isn't religious branding, it's operational branding. 7. Meanwhile, Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA UK, launched at the Royal Automobile Club under Prince Michael of Kent, Grand Master of Freemasonry. George Farmer, Candace Owens' husband, sat as chairman, tied to Andrew Tate long before Candace. Controlled networks, every link in place. And George Farmer, Candace's elite husband, ties to Tate's Angels to Erika. 8. Ask yourself, is Erika Kirk the grieving traditional wife or the CIA Mossad honeypot who just inherited the keys to the MAGA's youth machine? Did she pay her dues and rite of passage? Charlie's political machine didn't collapse. It was transferred, resurrected through his ritual death. Now that was a lot. And I don't know. But I'm just going to say this. It's all weird. It's all a bit weird to me. I mean, again, I didn't know about these things. Nico House really does a good job bringing this home as well, especially in regards to Romanian Angels.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Erika Kirk Romanian Angel story just got even weirder, if that is even possible. At this point, those of you who have been paying attention know that the Romanian Angels nonprofit organization in Romania was created by Erika Kirk and her mom and ran from roughly 2011-2012 to about 2017. Now, there have been some suspicions and allegations that this organization may or may not have been linked to some sex trafficking that took place with some U.S. military personnel on a nearby NATO base.
That part you guys needed to know. Now we're talking about military personnel that could have been involved.
Now, once that allegation was made upon the death of Charlie Kirk and Erika taking over as CEO of TPUSA, mainstream media rushed to claim that it was falsehood, that it had been completely debunked, and I'm here to tell you that's actually not true. In January of 2020, Ana Maria Nasiu, a former Romanian translator, accused military personnel of having a brothel on base. Specifically, Anna accused Colonel Arthur Busher III and his adjutant Lloyd Sparks of operating and facilitating the brothel on the base premises with underage girls. Now, Nusiu claimed that these activities dated back to 2011, right around the time Romanian Angels was co-founded by Erika Kirk and her mother. Now,
that part right there is really important. And don't forget, guys, if you may be shocked by some of the things that are being said, you're like U.S. military personnel. Well, don't forget there was U.S. military personnel that sexually assaulted children during the war in Vietnam. Don't forget about that. And had it not been for Seymour Hersh's writing, we may not have never known about that. That probably would have been covered up. So just keep that in mind.
Once again, you'll hear mainstream media over and over again claim that there is no credible evidence linking these allegations to that military personnel or linking these allegations to the organization. The problem is mainstream media is refusing to tell you why there's no quote unquote credible evidence linking the two. And the reason why probably serves as a valid explanation as to why Erika decided to do this nonprofit organization in Romania, of all places. You see, in 2001, the US and Romanian governments made a deal. Any criminal activity conducted by US personnel would be investigated and handled by the US government and the US government alone, which means if they were guilty of having a brothel, if that colonel were to be found guilty by the Romanian government or to be found suspected of anything by the Romanian government, we could possibly never know because the Romanian government actually has no power to prosecute him.
Not only that, but remember, if it is true that her dad worked for Raytheon Israeli Division and her mom worked for Homeland Security, do you really think that this is something that like they would go and hold those military personnel accountable? Now, here's the thing, whether or not like she knew if this is true, whether or not if she knew that that's what was happening to those kids, I don't know. But what I'm saying is these things just ain't really it just looks suspicious. It's just really weird. And when you make the connection to the way that she just kind of jumped in, it was like, yeah, let's just, keep Turning Point going. And I mean, most people would not be ready to show their face. And she's on podcasts just speaking on like Charlie Kirk's show as if nothing happened. It's just kind of weird. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't you need time to grieve and time to reflect? Unless it was a business relationship, unless it was you are going to be with this person and you guys are going to help each other grow. I don't know. But all of this is just weird.
And Maria, the translator, accused the Romanian government and the US government of a massive cover-up. So I'm like, damn, Maria is making accusations that go back from 2011 to at least 2018, 2019. Maybe it's just a big ass coincidence and Erika couldn't have possibly known about any of this, except in Erika's promotional video for Romanian Angels, she personally thanks Colonel Busher III, U.S. Army, U.S. Marine Corps for everything that he's done.
There's his name right there. It says, thank you, Colonel Busher III, U.S. Army. So she does know who he was and she knows that he was there.
For her organization. And till this day, she has not spoken about the allegations against Busher. She has not spoken out nor condemned anything that this base has been accused of since she's ended her organization. Despite the fact that her nonprofit organization worked directly with the soldiers on that base who were being accused. And this entire timeline of the accusations involving this base just so happens to fall right within the timeline and the window that she was running a nonprofit organization that dealt directly with orphan children.
It's not looking good, bruh. I'm telling you guys, like, it just does not look good. It doesn't sound good. It doesn't look good. Let's finish it out here.
And then she just stopped running it and never really gave an explanation as to why. Nor has she given an explanation how she got directly connected to Colonel Busher in order to get him involved with the nonprofit. But I'm pretty sure that has something to do with her mom being intimately involved with DHS, the Department of Defense, etc., etc., etc. And so not only does Erika have some questions to answer, but so does her mother. And how much does she know about the trafficking and the accusations that took place in Romania that were such a big deal there, a major story there, and yet they pretended and continue to pretend like it never happened.
I fully explained this in my Patreon video. I believe Charlie and Erika were placed together. It's like we see from Hollywood, as they are known to set up celebrity relationships. It's all strategic. Now, when looking into Erika's parents, you also find a government connection. Erika admitted out of her own mouth that her mother had moved them to Arizona when she was young because she started working with the government.
The question is, off topic, how did your mom choose Phoenix?
So she chose to move to Phoenix from Ohio because there was more of an opportunity for a female business owner out here, especially from the standpoint of she was getting involved with the government, so Homeland Security and Department of Defense.
It is speculated that her mother might have worked for the NSA, but I wasn't able to verify this. This isn't where her family government ties end either. It turns out that Erika's father also worked for the government as well. He worked at AZ Tech International as a program research director, with the company receiving a government contract with the Department of Defense, meaning her father also worked for the government. Erika's grandfather also worked for the government too. Carl Kenneth Franzi served in the army as an engineer. He then later worked as the vice president of manufacturing at an American banknote company. Erika's family has strong government ties. It's no surprise she ended up involved with Trump. This is the first thing that stands out to me as suspicious and a red flag. We know that when people have strong government ties, it usually isn't a coincidence they end up in a place of massive influence. Something else that stuck out to me as an obvious red flag was her use of Masonic gestures and symbols. We already know what signs and symbols to look for to identify members of the Freemasons. The most common secret gesture they do is the one-eye symbolism. We know what these symbols mean and why they are doing them. Erika Kirk, like many others in Hollywood or in politics, has a photo doing the one-eye symbolism. As you can see, she is covering one of her eyes. This Masonic pose is done to show alliance to the Masonic order. It represents one of the most recognizable symbols of Masonry, the all-seeing eye. Erika Kirk also has been seen wearing interesting jewelry. Many people have been questioning her online about two rings she has been seen wearing next to each other. One of the rings has a big capital M and is sitting next to another ring with a capital G on it. Again, this connects directly to the Freemasons. Believe it or not, this is a very telling photo. Erika purposely wore this massive hip-hop style rings with the letter M and G. Women don't normally wear these kinds of rings. This is more like male jewelry. Women usually wear smaller rings as they tend to have smaller fingers. Yet, Erika wore these huge rings that are easier to see in photos and on camera. If she was wearing smaller rings, we most likely wouldn't be able to make them out. She wore them so big because she purposely wanted people to see these letters on her ring. So what does the M and the G mean? The M likely represents Master Mason, with the G representing the capital G in the middle of the Masonic square and compasses, which is the main emblem in Masonry. She is clearly wearing these rings to show her Masonic alliance, also to indicate that what happened to Charlie Kirk is all connected to Masonry. I explained exactly what I mean by this in my Patreon exclusive video. Now, what you need to know that makes all of this even more calculated is that the G actually has a secret meaning. Masons tell the uninitiated that the G just represents God. That is not true. It actually represents the number 7, as G is the 7th letter of the alphabet. The reasons the Masons use the number 7 or the letter G is due to their obsession with pagan god worship. The number 7 represents the 7 planetary gods, which were the 5 visible planets: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, and the sun and the moon. You might have noticed Kirk had hats with the number 47 on it, claiming it was in honor of Donald Trump, the 47th president. But again, that is the explanation for the uninitiated. Its true reason is rooted in alchemy and masonry. The 47 represents the 4 elements of alchemy, and the 7 represents the planetary gods, both which are at the core of masonry and the occult. 4 is another important number in masonry and the occult, as it refers to the 4 elements of alchemy: fire, water, earth, and air. This is the real reason why they had these hats with the number 47 at Charlie Kirk's event the day he died. The 7 again ties back to the letter G and the 7 planetary gods, which is the same letter that Erika had on her ring, with the 4 leading back to alchemy and the 4 elements. Charlie Kirk was showing his alliance with his use of the number 47. What's interesting is that the rapper Capital Steez from Pro Era also incorporated the number 47 in his work. Capital Steez made logos of the number 47 and even dropped his album on April 7th, 4/7. More disturbingly, Capital Steez actually ended it all on December 23rd, 2012. When you add that up, it equals 47, as 12 plus 23 plus 12 equals 47. The number 47 is directly connected to the occult and ritual practices. That is the real reason Kirk had those hats with the number 47 on the table. The hats Charlie had on the table that day of his death, and the rings Erika had on, are clear connections to masonry. Now things become even more clear when you look at what Erika Kirk did with Donald Trump. Now I know there's a lot of debate regarding what gesture Erika did while at Charlie Kirk's memorial service with Trump. Some people felt that this hand gesture was rooted in the occult and masonry, calling it the horn hand gesture, with the media and the rest of the masses defending Erika Kirk, claiming it's just a gesture for I love you in sign language. Now even though I don't see why she would be saying I love you right at that moment, this gesture is sign language for I love you. But this hand gesture is also used by occultists and Freemasons. I've dug up an old music video Erika Kirk was a part of. The video is a 13-year-old music video for a song by a band named Emerson Drive. Erika Kirk is seen in the music video playing a bride and hanging out with the artist, with people pointing out a strange detail they noticed during the end of the video. As in the end of the video, Erika Kirk is seen riding a zip line past the number 910. 9/10, which is September 10th, is the same day Charlie Kirk was killed. On top of this, people notice an eerie comment Erika left on the music video, as she wrote this in the comment: "What a blast Tyler and I had shooting this video with you guys. We are so grateful to have been a part of this incredible video. You're all amazing and so down to earth. We are honored to have had this opportunity. Love you guys." Think about what she said here. What a blast Tyler and I had shooting this video. Tyler just so happened to be the same name of the man who's accused of shooting Charlie Kirk. Now to make this entire thing even more eye-opening, the music video is exactly 3 minutes and 22 seconds long, clearly pointing at the Masonic number 322, which is at the core of the Skull and Bones organization and seen in their logo. The Skull and Bones were started by members of the Freemasons, and it's a secret society that has produced many presidents. Think about this. In this video, she zip lines past the number 910, the very day her husband gets murdered, and in the video, she is seen marrying a man. Then she comments about a man named Tyler having a blast and shooting a video. Now obviously this video was foreshadowing Kirk's death, but what makes all of this more eerie and confirms this was all a ritual is when you calculate the days in between this music video and the day that Charlie Kirk died. If you add it up, it equals 4,797, again, showing us the number 47.
In the very beginning, at the 8-second mark, she is indicating the all-seeing eye of Freemasonry, and she's got one eye closed. So you can go back and take a look at these yourself. Then at the 15-second mark, she's got a butterfly tattoo. Granted, it does look like it's fake and just pasted on there. Nonetheless, the butterfly symbol can signify the CIA mind control program MK Ultra. I'm sure many of you are familiar with what that means. A lot of people miss this. In fact, I have not heard anybody point this out but me. And here at the 27-second mark and throughout the video, you'll see that the lead singer has a design on his shirt that resembles the demonic Baphomet goat head. These types of symbols pop up again and again when the evildoers are trying to communicate to us. Now, this lead singer is going to have significance at the end of this video, so be sure to stay tuned because there's another very strange connection between the names of the performers in these videos. At the 32-second mark, we see Erika removing her boots. Now, shoes show up a lot in Freemasonry symbolism, and removing shoes signifies submission and allegiance to the lodge. Think about all the other incidents that we've seen where shoes, missing shoes have been mentioned. And of course, on Erika's Instagram page, she has an inordinate number of photos of shoes, and it shows her daughter's shoes being removed. It's very troubling to me. And here at the 35-second mark, we see Erika being barefoot, and that symbolizes sincere adherence to Masonic teachings. All right, the next thing that I caught around 40 seconds is they're driving by. It looks to me like it says Diablo. Now, I could be wrong, but that's what I caught. And even if that's not the actual name, that is what it is looking like. And then the lead singer here is also throwing down the devil horns gesture. Here we've got lead singer Brad Mates with his 666 gesture mark of the beast. It crops up again and again in this video. We've got another all-seeing eye. Here she's doing a wink at the 1:03 mark. And now she's got the finger to lip, which signifies a Freemasonry gesture of keeping a secret. You might also construe that she's doing the 666 sign with her fingers as well, although that was not as apparent to me in this video clip. Now, this one you may want to discard, but it really caught my eye because she's waving at the pyramid as they're driving by, but it's not a normal wave where your hand goes side to side. She's kind of doing her fingers up and down, and she's got a bent thumb. You may say, Peggy, what does that have to do anything? You just caught that just at that exact moment. It's possible that I did. What is interesting to me is that it made me think of this gesture. There's the bent thumb, there's the outstretched arm. You may say that I'm stretching here, but I'm saying that I take every clue and tuck them away in case I need to evaluate them later or they become significant. And speaking of the bent thumb, Charlie Kirk did that bent thumb all the time, or very frequently. It was very strange to me. He would bend other fingers as well. And I think that was in a manner of making the 666 sign. Instead of putting his index finger to his thumb, he would just bend the first finger. I'll share more of that with you in upcoming videos, but see if you can notice it when you watch videos and interviews and podcasts. Here's another strange thing about the bent thumb. Lots of people bend their thumbs. Now, don't get bent out of shape here, friends. I just calls it like I sees it. And I know people will tell me, Peggy, there you go again. This is just really a Roman salute. Dolphy didn't mean anything by it. No, I guess he didn't. Although you have to say that thumb is bent intentionally. Well, looky here. Your friend and not mine, Elon Musk, and he's got two bent thumbs in the X marks the spot, which is also a demonic gesture if it's intended that way. And he definitely has bent thumbs. So I'm going to keep digging on that. I don't know what the bent thumb means, but I do know that I saw it here, and I saw it here, and I saw it here, and here, and here, and here. If you know what the bent thumb signifies, please let me know in a comment. And here is the pyramid that she was waving at. Of course, the Illuminati, the Freemasonry, they use this as an important symbol as well. Here we've got the lead singer. His name is Brad Mates. He is definitely making the 666 sign. He's closing one eye. So I don't think that was just done accidentally. They also include a picture of fireworks. Many people don't know that fireworks also have oh, let's just say a dark side to them. They definitely have significance in the occult and in Freemasonry. And it also brought to mind the smoke that they had on the stage of Charlie Kirk's memorial, although some would call it a political rally. We have Erika on stage with some type of fireworks, very disturbing image. She's got the black and white Masonic colors. And here he is again at the 2-minute 13-second mark. He sure likes his 666. Here is what most people have heard of. This is Erika ziplining in Las Vegas, and she just happens to be going past this number 910, which could signify September 10th, which is the date of the Charlie Kirk incident. Some also have noted that it could also look like a witch flying through the air, and I have some concerns about witchcraft being all over this Charlie Kirk incident. I have a whole playlist, a Charlie Kirk playlist. So if you want to do a deep dive, there's hours of coverage for you there. Now, this is the drummer. And again, people will say, Peggy, you just caught him as he's drumming. All drummers do this. Well, maybe they do. But the video editor made sure to include this pose in the video. And that is at the 2-minute 39 mark. I don't know if that's significant. Perhaps it is. And it reminds me of Chris Tomlin, as above, so below. He's even pointing with the fingers up and down. The fireworks again. This is his album cover, which just came out a couple of days after he performed at the Charlie Kirk Memorial. How do you like them apples? Oh yeah, it reminds me of this, which people say, Peggy, he was just tossing hats into the air. Of course he was. And they happened to catch that exact moment where he's got 3 red hats, 3 white hats, 3 and 3, 33, the red and the white. And it looks exactly like this image. And here he is pointing down. And of course, the infinity sign. This signifies the magician. We've got the infinity sign, which is connected with Scientology. When you watch my videos about Erika, you'll see that she wears clothing with that symbol on it. And she has invited a Scientologist to speak at her event to young Christian women. And in the Turning Point event coming up this fall, well-known Scientologist Grant Cardone is going to be one of the speakers. Why would you invite a Scientologist to address a largely Christian crowd? Inquiring minds want to know. So no, this is not a mere coincidence. This here at the 2-minute 45-second mark is a Masonic gesture of allegiance. Now this is interesting because we've got the street sign at the end of the video as they're driving off in Las Vegas. At the 3-minute 16 mark, you see the Ogden street sign. Ogden is a city in Utah. Utah is the state where the Charlie Kirk incident took place. It gets stranger still. In Ogden, there's a place called Nordic Valley. It's a ski area, and it was named by a Norwegian who also created Odin Lodge there to honor Norwegian folklore. That reminds me, Norwegian folklore includes reference to Valhalla, the mythical place where fallen warriors are welcomed by the Norse god Odin. And remember when FBI Director Kash Patel said at a press concert about Charlie Kirk, I'll see you in Valhalla. Very interesting. Now here's another strange coincidence. Of course, we've got the names here, Erika and Tyler, the 2 performers in the video. But when we look at the lead singer, Brad Mates, there with the Baphomet insignia on his shirt, we were told by People magazine back in 2010 that Brad Mates had just welcomed a new baby, a little boy that they named Tyler Robert. That's their son, Tyler Robert's son. So interesting. That reminds me of Tyler Robinson. Make that Tyler James Robinson, the alleged shooter of Charlie James Kirk, and certainly not to be confused with Captain James Kirk of Star Trek. Now, some would say that perhaps this Tyler James Roberts' son bears a very slight resemblance to the Tyler who performed in this video.
Thank you, Mr. President, for honoring my husband in such a profound and meaningful way. And thank you for making this event a priority amid the peace process in the Middle East. Thank you. Very grateful. Charlie always admired your commitment to freedom, and that's something that both of you shared. So thank you. Your support of our family and the work that Charlie devoted his life to will be something I cherish forever, so thank you. To our gracious First Lady in her office for making this event possible, thank you as well. It's beautiful. To Vice President and the lovely Usha fans, your friendship has been an unbelievable encouragement. Thank you. And to all our friends and family that are here and watching from all around the world, thank you for loving us. Thank you for praying for us and for believing in what Charlie believed in. And Charlie lived only 31 short years. I was 32, but on this side of heaven, but he lived. He lived every single second he lived. He filled every single day with purpose, and he fought for truth when it was unpopular. And he stood for God when it was costly, but that's what we're called to do. Surprisingly enough, he did pray for his enemies, which is very hard, but he did. He did. He did. No one else, I mean, I saw him do it. No, he never did it in front of anyone else, but I can attest to that. But he also loved people when it was inconvenient. And he ran his race with endurance, and he kept the faith. And now he wears the crown of a righteous martyr. And for me and for our children, the truth really steadies our grief, because heaven gained what earth could no longer contain: a free man made fully free. To all watching, this is not a ceremony. This is a commissioning. And my message is simple. I want you to be the embodiment of this medal. I do. I want you to free yourself from fear. I want you to stand courageously in the truth. Listen for the still, small voice of God. And remember that while freedom is inherited in this country, each of us must be intentional stewards every single day. God began a mighty work through my husband, and I intend to see it through. And the torch is in our hands now. It's in mine, it's in yours, it's in all of yours, it's in all the students with Turning Point USA. And before I close, I'll share with you that I asked our daughter what she would like to say to Daddy for his birthday. Excuse me. She said,
Happy birthday, Daddy. I want to give you a stuffed animal. I want you to eat a cupcake with ice cream. And I want you to go have a birthday surprise. I love you, is what she said. And while our son is precious, he can't yet speak. In classic Kirk family fashion, his actions spoke louder than his words. And his gift to you, Charlie, and myself for that matter, was deciding to become the man of the house and be fully potty trained at 16 months. But Charlie, baby, I know that you're celebrating in heaven today, but gosh, I miss you. We miss you. And we love you, and we promise we'll make you proud. And Charlie's life was proof that freedom is not a theory, it's a testimony. He showed us that liberty begins not in the halls of power, but in the man of a heart surrendered to God. And so today, as we honor Charlie with this incredible Presidential Medal of Freedom on his birthday, I stand here with tears and just a humbled heart and spirit, because his story reminds us all that to live free is the greatest gift, but to die free is the greatest victory. Happy birthday, my Charlie. Happy Freedom Day. God bless you.
Folks, we have got to talk about this cringeworthy moment between J.D. Vance and the grieving widow, Erika Kirk. This is one of those that's got everybody talking, and rightfully so, because when you see it, you have so many thoughts and so many questions. I don't know about you all, but when I saw her dressed this way, I thought she was going to a WWE event. I thought maybe she was now entering a feud with Rhea Ripley, and I thought she was going to go out and cut a promo, not go out and introduce the Vice President of the United States.
Tony, you might not like what we're about to get into, man. We just got to talk about politics, but I got to jump into something real quick because I got some questions about this, and I'm not trying to upset anybody at all. When I pull this up, I'm making amends now with people who have different politics than I do. But man, this whole thing with Charlie Kirk's wife, that is crazy, man. It's been weird since this dude has died. You know, from her being so cheerful to her walking out at his funeral like it's goddamn like the WWE, or she's going to a rock concert, or a wrestling match or something. I can say with full confidence, not only have I never been, but I've never heard of a funeral with pyrotechnics.
Yeah, it was so bizarre. And to find out later, it was like, yeah, these weren't like friends and family. They were just not even fans. They paid to be there.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, this was like a concert. This was a paid event.
They wanted to attend. And it's kind of like, it's not really what a funeral is meant for. I mean, I'm not going to tell you how to grieve, but like,
it's just been weird, man. You know, she's been very cheerful lately and whatnot. Look, I don't know how people grieve in different ways. Who am I to say anything? But I will say, the shit I'm about to talk about right now is a little weird, because now they say that she's moving on too quickly thanks to that hug.
The Vice President of the United States took the stage in Oxford.
Boy, she wearing leather pants too?
Yeah. Also, you see her stroking the back of that man's head?
People, listen, I'm not one to be messy, all right? I try to be fair. Maybe this is innocent. Maybe this is nothing. But y'all know that looks wrong. You know that look, man. You have got to be the dumbest politician in the world if you don't know that looks bad.
Now, I'm not sitting here trying to shame her for the way she dresses or anything like that, but it's just super awkward that this would be the way a grieving widow would dress, and then this is the way that she would hug the VP and run her fingers through his hair. I actually went looking, believe it or not, before I made this video, I went looking to see if I could find an image of any kind where Jackie Onassis was running her fingers through LBJ's hair. I Googled it every which way I could, and I can't find it. I can find them standing next to one another looking all solemn. I can find a couple of pictures of them, sitting beside each other, maybe even sharing a smile, but I have yet to see the picture of Jackie Onassis dressed like that, running her fingers through LBJ's hair. But I'm sure somebody can make that happen. But it didn't happen in real life because before this whole circus started, people didn't act this way. Now, what's even more weird to me than the way she's dressed is what she said before he came on stage. That's the moment that to me is even more awkward, and you just be the judge for yourself.
I am tremendously blessed and honored tonight to be able to introduce to you a very, very dear friend and his wife. They are incredible. And I see no one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do. And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight. He's an amazing man. So please help me welcome to the stage Vice President JD Vance.
Now, I'm sure all of us at some point in our lifetime has known someone who might have moved on a little too soon after they lost their spouse. You may have knew a man or a woman who moved on a little too soon and you thought, dang, they ain't really even gone yet and you're already moving on. And if you question that person about why they moved on so fast, usually they will say something to the nature of, well, I saw qualities in this person that reminded me of the person that I lost, and that's why that I clung to them. That's why that I grew close to them, because I saw those qualities in them. And I could tell you, I grew up, when I was watching that, I got to thinking back on growing up in the church. I kind of went back and forth between the Pentecostal church and the Southern Baptist church. And I can tell you one thing, Southern Baptist people absolutely love to gossip. Now, I'm sorry if you're Southern Baptist. I'm not sorry you're offended. I'm just sorry if you're Southern Baptist. But they love to gossip. They love to talk behind each other's back. And I can tell you that if Erika Kirk and J.D. Vance, if that was the minister and then like the deacon's wife hugging like that on the stage, I promise you everybody in that church will be whispering. Everybody in that church will be gossiping behind their backs, and everybody in that church will be demanding an explanation.
Right there, you have to have the dumbest PR team if they can't come in and spin this around some kind of way, which I don't know how you can, because I'm looking at this, people, y'all know this looks wrong, man. I don't like to see people gossip, but y'all brought this shit on yourself with this right here. Because there's a lot of things going on that is weird with this situation, and there are things that are being done that don't help this situation. Like your girl coming out, Erika Kirk, coming out sounding like she's already in love with him. The hell with moving on, she sounds like she's in.
No one will ever replace my husband.
Except JD Vance.
No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD.
Maybe y'all heard a different way, but that sounds like she's in love.
Notice she called him JD, not like Vice President Vance, not Mr. Vance. No, it was just his name.
JD, they already that close. She already dropping that J and that D. Yeah, she tried to get that D. Shit, JD stand for just dick. Because people, that ain't a hug, that's a caress. If that happened at a party, forget this. If that happened at a party, when they left the room, everybody be whispering. You know how that is. You know people will start gossiping immediately. You know, look, I'm gonna tell you something, and y'all know this. People, we all know body language. Ain't nobody stupid. The back of the head, when you caress the neck and the back of the head, that is reserved for very, very close relatives. That's like your mama hugging you when you done something good, like you gave a good recital. You did well at your baseball game or something. Close relative shit. That's also reserved for lovers our buddies.
Yeah.
Ain't no friends doing this right here.
I was gonna say, my friends don't hug me like that.
That ain't no friends unless it's friends with benefits.
Yeah.
I'm just saying what I see right there. You know, I'm not one to cause trouble or stir the pot or try to cause any gossip out there, but y'all know this looks bad. And a lot of women and men, they've been cussed out for less than this right here. Let your woman see that. A move like that is usually followed up with, who is that bitch? Or, what the hell she thinks she doing? And it's also followed up with statements like, I better not see her ass again.
Yeah.
And listen, y'all, if that's awkward on an average personal level, think how awkward that must be to this woman right here for the whole world to see. Cause she just look at it, she just like
she looking like the woman who's like, God damn it, I told these.
This is that look of, I be goddamn. She's defeated. Wow, that in my face, in my face, and for the whole world to see. What's her name? Usha Vance. Usha, is that how you say? Usha Vance.
I think it's Usha.
Usha Vance. I'm gonna say Usha. Usher sounds something like an usher, but Usha Vance. Shit like that's that kind of look like. You know, I wish I could leave, but it ain't that simple. Boy, if he wasn't vice president, I'd beat his ass and be at the house, and I'll be on my lawyer. I'll be talking to my lawyer tonight.
Still might.
Yeah, I ought to clean out his ass for everything he got. And that's got to be humiliating. Now, first of all, I don't feel that bad for her, you know, because she chose to sign up for that MAGA life. So hey, you know,
hey, you chose this marriage.
Yeah, you know what you were getting into. And you know the deal. Listen, she's brown, and she's not a Christian. She's Hindu, right?
I think I know. I mean, let's be real. Just being brown is already enough for men.
You know. But yeah, that already, that's enough for 3 strikes right there. Yeah. But she's not a Christian.
My wife did not grow up Christian. I think it's fair to say that she grew up in a Hindu family, but not a particularly religious family in either direction. In fact, when I met my wife, we were both, I would consider myself an agnostic or an atheist, and that's what I think she would have considered herself as well. You know, everybody has to come to their own arrangement here. The way that we've come to our arrangement is she's my best friend. We talk to each other about this stuff. So we decided to raise our kids Christian. Our 2 oldest kids who go to school, they go to a Christian school. Our 8-year-old did his first communion about a year ago. That's the way that we have come to our arrangement. But thank you. My 8-year-old was also very proud of his first communion. Thank you, guys. I'll tell him that Old Miss wishes him the best. But I think everybody has to have this own conversation when you're in a marriage. I mean, it's true for friends of mine who are in Protestant and Catholic marriages, friends of mine who are in, atheist and Christian marriages. You just got to talk to the only advice I can give is you just got to talk to the person that God has put you with, and you've got to make those decisions as a family unit. For us, it works out. Now, most Sundays, Usha will come with me to church. As I've told her, and I've said publicly, and I'll say now in front of 10,000 of my closest friends, do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way. But if she doesn't, then God says everybody has free will, and so that doesn't cause a problem for me. That's something you work out with your friends, with your family, with the person that you love. Again, one of the most important Christian principles is that you respect free will. Usha's closer to the priests who baptized me than maybe I am. They talk about this stuff. My attitude is you figure this stuff out as a family, and you trust in God to have a plan, and you try to follow it as best as you can, and that's what I try to do.
Yeah, she's Indian, so I guess she's Hindu. And so, she know they don't like her. And JD let it be known that he's not that crazy about it either. He said openly, I wish she convert to Christianity. And so, with all that going on, now everybody got the conspiracy theories. And I'm not just talking about like conspiracy theories like, she about to leave. We talking some Game of Thrones shit. And listen, I'm not buying into the crazy theories because some people already said, yeah, they're going to kill her.
Damn.
Game of Thrones shit. They're going to kill her and replace her with Erika Kirk. She's going to have an accident.
See, I had heard the people pitching that they're like, okay, he's MAGA and they already don't like her because she's brown. So like the working theory I had been hearing is that like he was gonna like leave her and then go after Erika and try to do like a presidential run. And she's like, well, I got this blonde white woman now.
Yeah, people, her married to JD Vance right now. MAGA is like the in-laws that hate her. Forget the family. That's all. MAGA is like the whole Republican Party are like the in-laws that don't like her.
Why is she here?
Yeah. Why you marry that bitch? And you could tell it's kind of weighing on her, man. That article is from scmp.com. Yeah, now everybody got they talking about that she's gonna have an accident and conveniently exit the picture, and now she's gonna be replaced by Erika Kirk. Listen, as Game of Thrones crazy as that sounds, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it would happen. Okay, I ain't gonna go with killed. And it would be really hard for them to get divorced at this point because the divorce does not look good for any politician. Mm-hmm. Also, it would be a little too obvious right at this point.
A little bit.
Yeah, that something was going on.
I would argue the divorce part not so much nowadays, considering who's in the White House. But with that, it's a little too obvious. You can't be doing that shit like right off the bat, man.
No. She got pressed up against him with them leather pants on, hugging the back of his head. Look at him sniffing her hair.
Yeah.
She's probably right now, I want to fuck you so bad.
That's what that looks like.
Yeah. So what hotel are we going to tonight? Yeah, man, this don't look good at all. And I can see why people would think of the conspiracy theories. I'm not saying, listen, right now, I'm not going to subscribe to it because I don't think it's that easy to do that. Now, would people be happy if that was the case? If he ended up like somehow getting rid of Usha and getting Erika Kirk up in there? Oh, you goddamn right they love that. They would love that all day, man. Is it that easy to do? No, the optics are still there. But if it happened, would I be surprised? Would I be surprised if her and JD Vance walked on stage like this?
Not even a little bit.
Not one bit. Not one bit.
There is so much wrong with that clip. I could actually do an entire video where I just broke down that clip alone and talked about everything that's wrong about what he's sitting there saying. He's concerned about her religious views and he wishes she would come around to his way of thinking. He hopes that she does. And you could easily flip that script and say, well, I'm sure she probably hopes you come around to her way of thinking and you actually want to welcome immigrants again the way that you did her and used her to your advantage when it was time. There's just so much wrong with that. But I'm not trying to be a matchmaker here, and I'm not calling for JD to get divorced, but I'm just saying, if he's looking for a Christian woman who would embrace his beliefs and values, well, Erika is looking for someone that's got the same qualities as Charlie to her and will fight the same fight as Charlie. So, I don't know. I mean, if I was going to have a dating game, those two could be contestants. And it's just so cringe and so weird. And the funniest part to me is just sitting back watching people defend it. And there's a lot of people that will say to me, well, Brando, when you react to Trump, it just makes him stronger, man. You can't react to him. You can't say nothing about it because if you react to it, then they love that. They troll you when you react to it. And I'm sitting there going, no, what's really crazy to me is the fact that this stuff happens and there's zero consistency from MAGA and zero consistency from the evangelicals of the world, who if this was any other couple in any other congregation in the United States, they would absolutely be gossiping and demanding explanations. It's amazing to me. It's not about us pointing this stuff out and them enjoying trolling us. To me, it's more about the fact that when we point it out, there is never a moment where they go, gee, you may have a point. Instead, they just double down on all of the rhetoric and think that they're owning us. And so it's so ridiculous to me that these are the type of people that we're up against, this level of hypocrisy. But we're up against it, and we're going to be for a long time. And so we have to continue to stand up and call this stuff out. And yeah, they're going to troll, because that's what they are. And I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of having trolls run our government. We got enough internet trolls. There'll always be internet trolls. As long as the internet's around, there'll be someone trolling someone somewhere. That's just, I'm kind of writing a song here, but they will. There will always be a troll. There will always be someone trolling someone. It's trolling time somewhere. It always will be. I just don't want those people to be running our government. And I sure as hell don't want a bunch of radical, right-wing extremist Christian nationalists like Erika Trump and J.D. Vance running our government. And if that's the future of the Republican Party, if that's where we're headed after Trump finally rides off into the sunset, is Erika and J.D., then buckle up. Because that ride's going to get even bumpier. They're going to come for every right, and they're going to come for everything that they disagree with. And we have to stand up, and we have to fight for everybody. We have to fight for the most marginalized, and we have to stand up against this hypocrisy and call it out and let them troll. Trolls are always going to troll, but we can't sit back and be silent on these things.